Hi everyone, it's me, Krylios, Team Racing Productions MC and producer. And joining me today is Larry Webb. Welcome.
Hey, Krylios, it's so nice to be with you today.
Thank you. It is such a pleasure to have you here joining us, representing the U.S. Small Business Administration. Thanks so much for being here. How are you?
I am well. I'm very excited. I had a great week. I was at our field conference last week, and of course, I'm very excited. We talked earlier. I was at the Pride Festival yesterday, so I'm very
Mhm.
excited and energized.
Awesome, awesome. Well, it is great to have you here. Happy Pride. Happy Pride to
Happy Pride
everyone.
indeed. Yes.
So of course, how we like to kick things off here is just having our audience introduce themselves to our guest and talk a little bit about their experience and background. So let me give the floor to you.
Thank you so much. Well, I have been with the Small Business Administration for 11 years now. It'll be 11 years actually, in next month. Wow,
Ah.
time flies. I'm originally from St. Louis, Missouri. Born and raised there. Went to college in Missouri. Then went to graduate school, law school in Cleveland. So I spent a good 22 years in Ohio, mostly in Cleveland, but I also lived in Columbus. While there, I went to law school, but I also started the first and I believe only African American same gender loving organization, which was called Blackout Unlimited. And that was back in the 90s,
Mm.
long before
Oh.
long before MySpace and Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all of those things. I was actually having a conversation with someone recently about the fact that, back in the day when we were doing that, we were still doing snail mail. And it was very
Mhm.
difficult at times to get our message out to the community because we had to do white envelopes. We couldn't
Mhm.
brand the envelopes. It was a lot of stuff, but it was really I hope very impactful for the community and ultimately the youth program. Although Blackout Unlimited doesn't exist anymore, the youth program that we started, because we had a youth program, a women's program, and a men's program. We
Ah.
did a yearly conference and a pride and a whole weekend of events or what have you. So emulating what happens on the coast in the
Mhm.
Midwest, as it were.
Mhm.
And but the youth program still exists. It's still funded, and that's a good 25 years later. So
Amazing.
it is one of the things that I am most proud of that I've done in my life is created a space where young Black, same gender loving people specifically, could feel empowered and not preyed upon. Because before
Yeah.
that, they were just hanging out in clubs or hanging out after the club, and we saw that and we thought that's not community.
Yeah.
And there's more to community. Clubs are fine. There's more to community. So that's the
Yes.
thing
Yeah.
I'm proud of. And I've been with the SBA for once again this 11 years, mostly as an
Hmm.
attorney. But in last August, was asked to join what we called our field presence as a district director. And so the
Hmm.
district director position is is for the DMV, literally,
Yeah. Washington
literally the DMV.
Metropolitan
So
area.
yeah,
Hmm.
so Prince George's and Montgomery counties, DC, Fairfax, Arlington, and Loudoun counties in Virginia.
Mm.
So a lot of territory, but I have colleagues that have text whole states.
Yeah.
So
Oh, wow. Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah, so it is
Wonderful.
great though. It's great to work with small
Yeah.
businesses, and I wanted to be here specifically. I know Racine and have gone to get manicures and pedicures from Racine. And as
Yes.
soon as I took the job, I said I want to be on your show. I want to make sure that the people in our community know that not only does the SBA exist and what we do,
Hmm.
but ultimately that they have an ally, and not just an ally, actually, a friend, a
Yes.
compatriot
A friend.
in
Yes.
that
A friend of
office,
Dorothy.
a friend of Dorothy in the office, and that the resources of the federal government writ large are open to everyone. And
Hmm.
if anyone has any difficulties with that, they should call me, and I will do whatever I can to make sure that is taken care of.
And that is so important. That's so important for anyone watching who isn't aware of the resources that the SBA offers. Please, enlighten us about the SBA, how people can get involved, and the resources that are available to them.
Thank you for that. That was a softball. I love it. No, we're the Small Business Administration. We represent broadly the 32 million small businesses in the country. Unfortunately, though, we don't actually touch 32 million small businesses. We represent them. My goal in the DMV is that every business in the DMV knows that there are free resources like counseling. You shouldn't have to recreate the wheel. People have started businesses before. People have started businesses just like yours before, potentially, or similar to yours. And sometimes when you start a business, you have a passion for the business. You have a passion for this idea, but you may not necessarily have a passion for accounting. You may not have a passion for, online marketing. You may not have a passion for what it takes to hire and to train individuals and potentially how to fire individuals. So all of those things go into making a business. Now, most businesses in America in the US are in fact solo proprietaries. However, you still have to learn how to build. You still have to know how to do all of those things, even if you're just working by yourself. And so what we offer, one of the things we offer, and actually I think the most important thing, others might disagree within my agency, but I think the most important thing that we offer is education, free education on a variety of topics. Any topic that you have, we have a resource partner that provides free education on it. We have grants that provide free technical. So if we don't know or we don't have the resources, we can get what's called a 7J grant to provide those technical resources. So let's say someone's in the patents specifically and they need to get trained on that. Well, we can find someone to provide that resource for you. And once again, these resources are free, and I can't say that enough. Often people are paying for someone, if someone needed to get a PPP or an EIDL loan during the pandemic, those programs are now gone. But if they needed to, there were people out there charging you to get that resource.
Yeah.
And that's money that's taken away from yourself, your business, your family. And so I just want people to know that there are free resources. The other things that we do, the three main things that we do, education, raising your business acumen, technical assistance is what we call it. But, getting in there so that you can be ready when a government contract comes or when a client comes or when someone, you got to get ready first so that you can take advantage of the opportunity. The other two major things that we do in the agency are lending and access to capital. So I say lending, but it's really access to capital. Sometimes it's lending. So we support banks and other lenders so that they can provide resources to small businesses that they might not otherwise do. So let's say that you don't have the greatest credit score. Let's say that you're starting a business and banks are a little hesitant to provide you those resources. The education can help you get ready, right? So if you're not ready, the education we can provide you is how to get your credit score up, how to do your business plan so that you didn't just walk into a bank going, hey, give me some money. You have to show them what your business plan is so that they know that you can pay them back. Because at the end of the day, the lender, whoever they are, just wants to know that they're going to get that money back, right?
Yeah.
If it's a grant, same thing. People don't give out money willy-nilly. They want to know that you're prepared to do the work. Even if it's a grant, people want to know that you're prepared to do the work that you are saying that you're going to be able to do, and that you can demonstrate that, quite frankly, on paper. Talk is nice, but people aren't going to sign talk.
That is true. That is true. That is true.
Some of this is really, some of it's real basic. But when you're passionate about something, when I want to start this thing, I equate it sometimes to some of my best friends are artists, and all the artists I know, some of them are really good business people, but a lot of them are not really good business people because they just want to do the art.
That's true. That is really, really true. Yeah. That's real. As an artist and creative myself, I have that mind. I have to surround myself with people who that's what they do, that's the business side, and I lean into it with them when we're having those conversations. But generally, I'm all about the creating of the art.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it is making sure that if you're going to go into business, and you're not just going to give away your art, you're not just going to give away your skill, you're not just going to give away your talent, that you price appropriately, that you compare who else is in the community doing what I'm doing, so that you can put yourself in the right position. So once again, that's all the education. I digressed a little bit. So anyway, education, lending, access to capital, and then the last one is government contracting. And in our office, that is actually the largest thing that we do, is government contracting. We have the largest government contracting portfolio in the country. We have 1,100 firms on our in our portfolio, and what we call WMATA, which is the Washington Metropolitan Area District Office. It's a lot. That's why we just call it WMATA. That's the DC office, the DMV office. Typically, the next highest, I think, is like 200. So you can see how large ours is.
Yes,
and,
that is.
But government contracting really, so a couple of things. I know we only have a little bit of time. I don't ramble on too much. The U.S. government is the largest buyer of goods in the world. So let me just say that again. The U.S. government is if you sell it, the government probably buys it. So that's technical resources, plumbing, cleaning supplies, all the way up to aircrafts and spaceships and what have you, right? So, if you sell a service or a good, the U.S. government probably in some way, shape, or form purchases it. And so I say that to say that, and that's also similar to the DC government and the Prince George's government and the Fairfax government. They buy, I think DC is about to put $1 billion of contracts out. And they have like maybe 50% of those have to go to small businesses. That's huge. And so the get ready part of government contracting is learning what it means to be a government contractor, getting certified. You can get certified as a small disadvantaged business, or you can get it in the federal government, you can get certified as a women's owned business, a minority owned business, which we call, my mind just went blank, but anyway, minority business, women's business, a vet, veterans business, etc. Right? So if you are a vet, there are set asides, and what set asides are is if there's a contract, let's say it's a large contract, and some of that contract has been set aside for small businesses, an even smaller part of that contract may be set aside simply for veteran-owned business, women-owned business, right? And so that's how you can grow your business.
Yeah,
you can also do things like joint ventures where you work with a large firm to get your legs. And so what we do and there are lots, it's way too many of those specifics to get into today. But the point of that is, if you are a small business and you want to diversify your portfolio, right? So let's say that
you're able
to do that. And so that, and the government pays.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And the government,
that's always good. We want that.
Yeah, the government pays, except for a couple times when we've had shutdowns, way too many in the last few years. But, typically, that paycheck is going to come. And that the government's not going to go out of business, right? And if you provide good service and you do so consistently, then you create basically your own resume. Your past performance, and your past performance dictates how you do in the future, because the government then looks at your past performance to determine if you can move forward. And so the one thing I would be remiss not to mention is, in that government, and we talked about our portfolio, that 8A portfolio, which is, I don't know why it's called 8A, but I do know why, but it's not a term that really works with people. It's really a government contractors business development program. The 9-year program. If you have been in business for several years, meet certain qualifications, you can get into that program. And as an 8A, that is one of those set aside programs, right? So that if you get in the program, it's 9 years. So we help you develop your business over the course of 9 years, so that you can, one, get those set aside contracts, but the real purpose is so that you can be large enough so that you don't need those set asides, right? That we develop you diversify your portfolio. I rambled on enough. I know you have other questions, and so I'm going to
I
toss it back
do,
to
I
you.
do. Well, I did want to ask, what are some of the major challenges that Black people or queer people in specifically who are budding entrepreneurs usually face, and how does the SBA help to alleviate some of those challenges?
Well, thank you for that. Thank you for that question. So, two things. One, under this administration, first of all, generally, I think that the challenge is that people don't know. And I think that's the same challenge that others, people just don't
Mhm.
know. And so that's why I'm here today for whomever sees this or it gets shared. Hopefully they know someone if they themselves are not business owners to say, hey, have you ever heard of the SBA? Because we're a small agency. It's only like 2,000 people on a good day,
Mhm.
versus hundreds of thousands of people at the DoD or Interior or Homeland Security or what have you. And so we are a small agency. We have a mighty mission. And so part of that is getting out. And my job as the district director is to be in as many venues as I possibly can, sharing the good news of the SBA. And so I think that's the first thing. It's just people don't know. And once again, people are paying, they are recreating the wheel. They're struggling in ways that they don't need to. So what I've done, even in my brief time, is to make sure that I'm here, that I've gone to the gathering spot, which I know that you may know about, the social club, private social club. I've gone there. I'm going to be doing office hours there. I'm going
Mhm.
to try to go to every place where specifically communities of color who have been ignored.
Mhm.
Um, just to give you a little bit of background, the reason that I took this job, it wasn't a pay raise for me. It really was lateral. But I took this job because during the pandemic, I saw how Black and Brown people were not served as well
Mm.
during the PPP. They did not receive as much. Sometimes it's because those businesses had been bootstrapping, as we are told in America to do,
Yes.
to
Uh-huh.
bootstrap. Well, they bootstrapped, but they bootstrapped alone. And then when it came time to get these resources, the government went through its traditional processes to give that, and it skipped the
Mm.
bootstraps, right? Because so one of the things I would say is, yeah, it's great to bootstrap, but you need to have a bank account. You need to have business records. You need to have
Mhm.
those things, because when help comes, help is going to expect to see certain things, and we need to be
Yeah.
prepared to do that. And otherwise, we're always going to be bootstrapping. And you shouldn't have to be robbing Peter to pay Paul. Sometimes you can't get a loan. Sometimes you can't get a grant, right? We need to do those things if we want to grow.
Yeah.
So I think that the first challenge is just knowledge. I think the other thing is that particularly Black and Brown people, but in the queer community as well, we don't always trust institutions to be our friends.
True that.
Um, we don't trust institutions are going to be there for us. And that's why I'm here today. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. That's why I will continue to do this for as long as they will have me, because I want people to know that they do have friends and allies and people that are concerned. And if you're not ready today, that's okay. Our job is
Yeah.
to get you ready. And so that you are ready when the opportunity presents itself. When the RFP goes out, or when the contract notice goes out, you got to be ready. You can't be trying to
Yes.
figure out how to do it the day of, right? And so that's the job. That's the job of the SBA. And that's
Certainly.
specifically my job, is to help people get in those spaces.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Larry, how can people find out more about the SBA, keep up with what they're doing, and, be able to connect and keep up with updates?
Well, I'm so glad you shared this screenshot. Thank you so much. So you can obviously follow us on SBA.gov, on Facebook. You can follow our Twitter account, which is SBA Twitter, obviously, but SBA underscore DC Metro, and the rest of them up there as well. But more importantly, if you have a question, if there is something that you don't know, please reach out to our district office. Our district office can be found on SBA.gov. You can put in SBA.gov, get the screen, either at the top of your screen on the computer, if you're on your computer, or at the top right on your phone or tablet, click on the drop down there, and you'll find local assistance. And you just put your zip code in, and it will give you, anybody who's watching this is probably in the DMV. But if you're in a different area of the country and happen to be watching this, you can follow those same directions, sba.gov, local assistance, and it will take you, you put in your zip code and it'll take you to your local district office, as well as all of the resource partners that are in your area. But if you're new to this or you have questions, I would say start with your local district office, because they will then tell you and provide you the information to lead you to the place that is most helpful to you in your question today.
Awesome. And we're going to have those links in the description below so that our viewers can go ahead and click and be able to access that today. Larry, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been such a pleasure getting to chat with you and getting to learn more about the SBA and the resources that are offered. So thank you so much for the work that you do in our community.
Thank you so much for having me. Have a great day.
You. Such a pleasure. You too. Those watching, please follow Team Racine Productions at Team Racine on all forms of social media. Click around our YouTube channel and check out our other interviews, vlogs, and more. And while you're there, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. But most of all, thank you for watching. Bye, everyone.